I'm a survivor of human trafficking. I was taken from my mother when I was 4.
Like, who are my other siblings? Do I have grandparents? Do I have cousins?
I could go to school and not worried about, am I gonna eat today? Because did they put money in my account?
Everybody says that I can't do this, and I just want to prove to them that I actually can do it.
The Lord put me in a better place.
There's not really a thing that I think I can't do if I put my mind to it.
That when you go there and stuff, it's like when you always the new kid because you move around a lot. Like when you're like foster care, or like when you're living with your mom, you're still really bad and poor. When you move around a lot and you always have to go to new schools, that kids usually pick on you and stuff. And it's like when they pick on you, when you tell the teachers, they think you're lying. And they don't do anything about the other kids, and you get in trouble for defending yourself.
I guess when I was in, like my freshman year in college, I felt like kind of the relationship with my adoptive parents kind of dropped off, and like in college, it's important that like college students receive like encouragement and like little like gift baskets from home, and I know that's something I noticed all my other friends got, but that's not something that I got. Or like I was in a sorority, so like there was like a parent weekend, a family weekend, and at that time I didn't have someone to come up and be with me, but all my friends had their parents there, so it kind of just being in school but not like having your parents be involved or a set of parents be involved.
When I was in high school, there was a lot of stuff that I really didn't know how to do, like say math, but I was struggling with math and I would get so behind on math I couldn't focus on what to do, so I had a lot of people to help me with math.
Well, I'd say her name's Anna Brewer. She's an FBI agent, and I actually met her while I was doing a speaking conference with AMP. And I want to be like her because in my past, I'm a survivor of human trafficking, and she is an FBI agent who helps people, like does undercover stuff to rescue the kids who are part of human trafficking, and I want to be like her.
My champion would be my family and my friends, they keep me going every day, it makes me say, I'm living for these people so I can, prove I'm better than what people say I am.
I can trust my counselors, and I can also trust my friends that are also in either in another foster home, or I can talk to about anything because they'll listen to me.
I can trust my teachers, and because there's teachers that I can connect with, and sometimes there's not, and then sometimes, like, since I've been in foster care for a while, there's usually foster kids that I know just by going to school, and I just talk to them, and we just connect a lot in a lot of ways. So
I can trust my teachers because I've known them for almost a whole school year, and that I can turn to them whenever I need to, or yeah.
Oh yeah, like when I was in foster care, like school was like my getaway. Like I was involved in activities so that I didn't really have to be home so much. And school was, I had a good time in school.
Most of the time, yes. I mean, nowadays it seems much safer than it was when, I first came my freshman and sophomore year. I was bullied, people picked on me. It makes you want to feel as if, why did I come?
Most of the time, yes, because I can, like, if something's bothering me, I can go to any of the faculty or one of my closest friends. And sometimes it doesn't, because there's people who
get bullied at my school, and they just don't want to go to school anymore. They just want to go home and act like it never happened.
I think what motivates me for completing is that, like, you see all the benefits and it shows you that it's time to grow up, and that's what I'm trying to do. I want to build a future.
Family, my teachers, myself. It's hard to stay motivated though.
I just have goals I want to meet. Like everybody says that I can't do this, and I just want to prove to them that I actually can do it.
My family and knowing my roots and where I came from, it kind of spurred me to do more, and it motivated me to go past what was expected of me because of my background or my ties to, what kind of family I came from. Nobody wanted, and it was the complete opposite. Nobody expected me to do more, and because of this, I had a desire to prove everybody wrong and achieve insurmountable things.
I fear success because, like, sometimes I get scared because sometimes I feel like I'm not good enough because it's moved so many times because I used to have an IEP, and sometimes I just don't feel good enough because I've seen other people, like friends and stuff, and I've seen that they were smarter than I was, so sometimes I don't know how I'll do when it comes to college or anything in the future.
Not so much as I did when I was younger. It's not really an option for me anymore. It's either sink or swim. I'm getting to the age where not succeeding means either failing or being stagnant in what I'm doing, and neither of which are conducive to raise a family or be a healthy adult. When I was in high school, and even as a child when I entered the system, I feared not just success, but anything good, because I had the mentality that if I was doing well or if something was going well for me, that the bad was inevitable. So I should just get it over with and, sabotage whatever I have going for me anyway. Very hard thing to stop thinking.
Because I never succeeded, I was never around anybody that had succeeded before I entered the system. So I just did never think that I was going to be capable of doing it. And then I was adopted, and I saw that success is possible, and you don't have to be afraid of it.
I don't know about schools changing, but maybe the foster care system or the child welfare system would do a better job of educating the schools about foster care and the issues, and kind of letting, just the same way you might train a worker about like the trauma training that they might go through, try to help teachers understand this too, because they could very well have a kid that's in foster care and not know it. I think teachers should know when there's a youth in foster care, kind of like if a kid has a parent that's dying, more than likely one of the parents is going to tell them this is what they're going through at home. The state should do a good job, since the state is the parent. They need to do a good job of communicating with the teacher who's going to be with that child 8 hours a day. So,
I would probably let them know that even though that they're foster or adopted children, you shouldn't treat them differently because they're just human like everybody else is. But they might have different paths in life, but you should still treat them the right way.
The teachers and educators need to set the example that you do not treat these children differently just because of where they come from. They're no different. And I think that if educators did that and set that example, their students would follow. There'd be less bullying of foster kids. There'd be less making the foster child feel like they're not welcome. It's got to be a community thing. Everybody has to do it, and the adults need to set that example so that the children will follow suit.
Well, sometimes it feels good when you get like a pass, but if you have it done to you like every so often, then you're like starting to get like, what the heck's happening? Like, why are they doing this only to me and not everybody else?
I feel that's true for a lot of kids. Like, if the teacher doesn't take like an interest in how they're doing, then they feel like, well, if they don't care, then why should I care? So I think that they should hold them accountable, because then it makes them feel like someone's watching out for them.
If I'm not doing good in school, or if I'm having trouble with stuff and they're just passing by, like you always hear that they're passing by the bad students, or if they're passing by like kids they don't want to deal with anymore, it just shows them they can get away with anything they want, and they're gonna think that nobody's there to help them out because they're just getting overlooked, and I think that would affect you in the long run. Yeah.
I think that it is important for teachers and other educators and just any really adult and role model in the education field that you have to treat your foster kids the same as you would treat your regular youth. If you fail to hold accountable the youth in the system, they're going to grow up thinking that it's acceptable the way that they act and that everybody's just going to let them slide. And when they reach adulthood, they're going to find very quickly that you don't just get to slide. You break a rule, you break a law, you go to jail. You break a rule, you get arrested. This stuff is permanent on your record. If you don't finish your schoolwork, you're not going to get a good job. You know, just because teachers say, oh, it's okay, let it slide, once you get into the real world and you're an adult and you can't do simple math or you can't spell simple words, you're not going to be able to succeed to the best of your ability because you're not going to be able to hold those jobs or make those connections.
I consider, my biological family and also my foster parents, because although I am out and I'm living with my grandma and she's my guardian right now, I still consider my foster parents, who were my foster parents, I still consider them family because I still have contact with them, and they've just been there for me, and I can go up to them and I can ask them questions and not have anything wrong with it.
I consider my brothers and my friends that I've known for like ever, because they've been like the only people there for me, like when I actually needed someone.
My friends are my family, and my foster family that I'm with now is my family, and people don't understand. When I say my friends are family, you know, it's all I have. I lost all my family. You know, I hang on to what I have now so I don't lose it.
People that are going to stay with me and love me for who I am, that know you for who you are, and that love you for who you are.
I consider lots of people family. I consider my, biological family just because of blood and because of some of the bonds that I have with some of them. And I also consider people family who I know who will always be there, who I can call up and talk to. I consider AMP family. I consider anyone who's pledged to be there for, the rest of my life and to just be a support. That's family to me.
Family means being open and trusting, loving, understanding, and accountability and responsibility.
Somebody who cares about you and is willing to do anything for you.
Anything else?
And they'll stick by your side when you're down in the dumps.
Family means a lot to me. It means that you can have a support system, someone that you can trust and count on to be there for you or to make the best decisions for you, and who will go the extra mile just to meet your needs and what you need to do to grow up and survive on your own.
Family means being there, being close, not caring what other people say about your family, not saying that they're not my family because they are, loving them, caring, sticking up for them, showing respect.
Family means, like I said, permanency. Family means people who are always going to be there for you. Plain and simple. It doesn't mean, just blood relation, but it's really just that commitment that you made to that person. That's what family is.
Knowing that you have shelter, clothing, food, and that your family is going to back you up whenever you need it.
My family is my motivation to excel. My family is my reason to be. And on a more selfish level, my family is my personal testament to my survival and to how I overcame what I came from.
At this point, no, I was adopted at one point. It just didn't work out. And it's just to the point where I'm like, I don't want to have to put myself on the line again.
I won't be adopted because I can at least stay in one spot rather than moving around across the country a lot.
No, because since she's already my family, I just don't feel like that I need to be adopted because I know she's my family.
I wanted a family that I could count on that wouldn't say I love you one day and then the next throw me out on the streets. I wanted someone who could believe in me and trust me and think that I'm just like any other ordinary kid.
Really, the best advice that I can give to social workers placing youth is, at a certain age, you have to at least take an interest in the opinion of the child. Nobody knows what I want more than I do. And even though I may not be old enough to actually have that option, I should still be heard. Because not only is it, probably a better placement if you place me someplace that I want to be, as a child, I'm more likely to follow through and make it work if I want to be there, as opposed to if you put me somewhere and I have no idea what's going on. Not only that, but as a child, if my interests and my opinions are taken into account by adults, I feel better about myself, like I'm worth the time to get what I want or what I feel out on the table. So it makes me feel better as a youth, and it is probably better for my placement because I don't know a lot of kids that will do anything they don't want to do.
Listen to what the youth have to say. Don't just assume that where you think would be best for them is what's best for them. Really ask and get their opinion on the situation and how they, what they feel, what they're, experiencing. If, they've had a bad experience in another home, what would work for them rather than what would work for you.
If they don't know about the situation, explain it to them. I was really young and I had no idea what was going on. One day they just took me out of my house because my parents weren't there at the time, and they just took me out. I had no idea what they were doing, and they never explained anything to me. They just sent me off here, and I just lived with them, and I was wondering why I wasn't seeing my parents, and it was just another life, and I never knew what was ever going to go on. I didn't know if I was ever going to see my family again.
I would say to just ask questions. Not all youth are going to feel comfortable speaking up, so I would say, make sure that you ask that youth what they want, if they're old enough. Don't ever assume. Don't ever make assumptions when dealing with youth. Too many times when I was in care, people just assumed things without asking me questions, and that's not okay. You should always ask the youth what's their intentions. If they do something you don't understand why they did it, ask them why they did it. So don't just assume. Make sure that you really take the time to get to know that kid and can put them, in a family that would best fit them.
I'd recommend that don't split up your brothers and sisters. because that's pretty much the only family you have, and it'd be good to know if your siblings are okay. So that's one thing. Another thing would probably be is don't just put someone into a foster care. Let them try to choose where they want to go, because it's for you, not for the benefit for them. It's for you. You want to choose your life and how you want it to act out, not just someone running it for you.
To ask maybe to have the kids do visits and ask their opinion instead of just placing them there and thinking that they'll be okay there. Because if you ask them, oh, they visit this place, do you like it there? Is it somewhere that you want to be? Then maybe kids will be staying in the foster home that they are placed in instead of just placing them there.
I think it's hard to find foster home for teenagers because, most foster parents think that all teenagers are bad. Not all of them are bad though. None of them are bad. Just they get the impression that they can't handle them, but if they do what they're supposed to do, if they do it right, then they won't have any problems.
Because teenagers without being in foster care are hard. So take a teenager who's been through trauma. That's going to be difficult. So, we already have a negative view society of young people in general. So it doesn't surprise me, the society. People have that view. I think people just need to be open-minded and up for a challenge whenever you take a child that's not yours into their home, and realize that there are so many youth who are doing well, and all it really took is just one adult to really believe in them and to just be persistent, consistent with that youth. And just like a kid who's 2 years old is going to fight their way through terrible twos, you don't just drop a 2-year-old off because they're difficult to deal with. It's just like that. They eventually get past it.
I think people have a lot of opinions towards teenagers as opposed to they would have little kids. I think they think that once you get in your teen years that you're more trouble than you are when you're younger.
Foster parents, I want the baby. I want someone I can mold to be just like me, I can make what I want. And a lot of teens above the age 10 are I'm not going to be who you want me to be. I'm who I am. Deal with it.
I think it's hard because sometimes kids just don't feel connected. They don't feel connected, and kids just get thrown in foster homes. They don't get a pick, and kids just don't like it, so they'll run away or they're stuffed up in placement because they just can't handle it.
I wish that I knew more about my culture. I know where my mom's family comes from. I know what ethnicity they are, but my father's just a big black gaping void. And coming from a family coming from the experience of not knowing my father, it actually works out better because now I'm more dedicated to making sure that my children know their father. Even were something to go wrong between my husband and I would never take that away because I know what it feels like. So I'm more prone to do whatever necessary to make sure that there is a father-child relationship. I don't know anything about my father or his side of the family or what, medical history there is there, or, I think it'd be great to be able to, trace my ancestry back, and find cool facts about my history as who I am, and it's an identity thing, who am I, where do I come from? I can only answer half that question, and sometimes it's really depressing, but I work past it.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that I wish I knew about, now that I don't live with my real mom, I don't know, a lot of my real dad's kids, or, I never knew what my first word or anything was, or any of that stuff.
like, why didn't you keep trying to get me back, and why did you just give up and move? Because, like, that really put me in a tough time trusting people, because I didn't really know if I could trust people anymore, because I've been in third place.
Why did you choose drugs over your 4 children? You know, you lost us all, and what'd you get back?
I've never met her, so I would like to ask her about her life. Ask her, like, about the time that I was inside of her, and, like, who are my other siblings? Do I have grandparents? Do I have cousins? You know, other extended family. I would like also to know, like, the medical history and stuff, because I don't know any of that. I don't even know if I'm Irish or German, I don't know. So I would kind of like to know that stuff too.
I would ask kind of what distracted you from fulfilling your parental duties? What about whatever happened made that at the time more important than fulfilling your parental duties and taking care of your child? So that's probably what I would ask.
Yes, I have a lot of medical conditions that I think are genetic, but I don't know because I don't have any contact with my family, nor do anybody else know my family's history.
A young adult. I'm a student. I'm a daughter. I'm a part of the LGBT community. I'm just one of the kids, so.
A brother, everything. Like love, somebody you can look up to when you get bullied.
I'm strong, confident, a hard worker, and caring.
I am a strong, independent young lady who was a survivor of human trafficking.
I'm very courageous, curious, especially about birds. I love birds. I know everything to know about birds. I'm very adventurous, daring, and strong and hardworking.
Strong, independent. I've overcome insurmountable odds to get where I am. I'm dedicated to my children and my family. I have a strong desire to make the system right for youth following me into the system. I see myself to be somebody that other foster children can look up to, and I am pretty awesome. I'm a good friend. I'm a good mother. I'm a survivor, a soldier, if you will, and really, really hard to break down.
I am overachiever. I strive at any chances I will take them, and I am down to earth. I'm really nice. I have everything that could possibly go right in my world, and I'm just like everybody else in the world, no matter what.
Parents can enjoy teens by just getting to know them. I mean, just like you would in any other relationship. You enjoy a person by, getting to know who they are. And that can be done by spending time with that teenager. A teenager may act like they don't want to spend time with you, but they do. I like to think that a good way to show trust is
kind of stretching the privileges. And as teens get older, okay, well, you can stay out till this time, but I'll give you these privileges until you give me a reason not to. I'll allow you these responsibilities and extras as long as you, provided that you don't make it difficult for me. Or, I think that a good way to keep teens feeling trusted is giving them the opportunity to. If you have all these structured, regimented rules, get up at this time, pee at this time, you're not gonna have the same relationship with a teen that you're gonna have if you let them live a little. They're teenagers, and above all, whether they're in the system or not, they're gonna mess up. It's kind of human nature, and trying to stop that from happening is only going to affect the child in a negative way later in life.
They can give them a little freedom, let them do some things that they can do, that they ask to do. Start off little and then bigger things, because some parents or guardians, they think that necessarily all teens are gonna do something bad, or they shouldn't trust them.
I guess there comes a time when you have a kid where you're gonna have to let them kind of branch out on their own. There's always going to be a risk of something happening to your child, and there's always the risk of them having to face a situation that you wouldn't want them to have to face alone. But the truth is that they need to learn how to, spread their wings. And if a youth is not given situations and chances to be able to be trusted, then when they turn 18, they're going to get involved in some things they really should not have, more than likely, because they weren't trusted and able to test some of those boundaries when they were under the care of parents. So it's really important that they're able to practice being involved in situations where they're going to experience peer pressure. And it's just a given when they go to high school, so in middle school nowadays. So it's really important to you can still have rules and boundaries, but don't lock your kid up and only let them stay in the house. That's not a realistic view of how life, is supposed to go. So
that question happens a lot. It'd probably just leave them alone for a few days until they get used to it, and then work up a little bit at a time to tell them the ground rules and stuff. Just work your way up and let them learn first, and then that's pretty much is just leave them alone at first because they want their space, their boundaries, and so just let them feel comfortable at first and then work your way up to it.
A parent and adult can make a teen feel safe if they show that they care and they show that they're not crossing boundaries and that they just want to engage in everything that they do, and that they know where they're coming from, and that they can just really and just trust them.
Be there for him. If a teen has issues with something, and you need to be there. A lot of us teens don't have anybody. You okay?
Youth in foster care want to be able to know that they're able to make a mistake and still have you be there. In foster care, it's really easy to feel like you go to a foster home and if you mess up once, you're going to be kicked out. And that's not okay that youth feel that way and feel that any minute their placement could be disrupted and they're going to have to move on to another shelter. So it's important that they feel like they can be human and make mistakes. Just like if you with your biological children, when they make mistakes, you're not going to kick them out of the home. And it should be the same way for youth. It shouldn't be a zero tolerance, because then you'd be expecting teens to be perfect, and teens are very far from perfect. So.
I want trust and respect for them to actually listen to me and to know that I'm still learning, and that when I'm older, it'll, like, all the things that they teach me will probably pay off, and just for them to believe in me and all that.
I want their passion and their love to teach me and to act like they're my own, and to teach me the things I need to learn that would help me to be successful when I begin to age and mature out of foster care.